Yo, what up guys, I'm Sammy and welcome back to the Soul Drop, and this is my first impressions look on the UA or the Under Armour FUTR X Elite 2. So this is the second FUTR X Elite. I actually didn't try the first one, but yeah, this shoe looks pretty dang insane. It really caught my eye. So it's just a really nice design, you know what I mean? And Under Armour, a lot of their shoes, first of all, are recycled. If you see all their hoop shoes, they're just recycled outsoles and midsoles of previous shoes. They've been doing that for the past couple years, which is a little bit disappointing, but I saw this, it looks like a totally new different design. It also has a they're calling this the IntelliKnit upper, right? And it's a full-on one booty upper, which also caught my eye. So yeah, I got it, and here are my first impressions. So if you guys do want to cop it, try to leave in the affiliate link in the description box. This shoe does retail for 150 bucks, which is $10 cheaper than the Curry Series 7. So again, it does help me out if you buy it through the affiliate link in the description box, or the YouTube link will be right over here. And as always, thank you guys so much for all the support. But let's get it started right off with the tracciones. And also for the traction, we have a new freaking outsole pattern. I'm so sick of the flow outsole. You know, we've had it for literally every single flow outsole for the past, I don't know, 20 flow shoes, you know? So it's really nice. It's a breath of fresh air to see a different type of pattern. It kind of just looks like rocks though. And also these rocks are facing this way. They're pretty much parallel to the actual outsole. So yeah, a lot of them are just going long this way, right? And it seems like it'll be very good for, you know, movements going laterally, right? Going sideways and not so much going forward as much, you know what I mean? But you know, you guys already know Flow has amazing traction. So yeah, just trying it on my wood floors has a crazy bite. It literally stops almost too hard. That's kind of like my only complaint about Flow, is that it has too good of a traction sometimes. And it hurts my feet and it hurts my legs and my knees a little bit because the stop is just so insane. And of course, like literally every single flow has that, you know what I mean? So yeah, of course that is very familiar. And also as far as dust performance goes, hopefully it doesn't pick up as much dust. Maybe it'll be a little bit different in performance because of this like new outsole pattern, but it'll probably pick up a little bit of dust like all flow outsoles do. But also durability actually doesn't seem very good, you know what I mean? Like the actual grooves, there are some really thin shapes on this outsole, like really thin. So those will probably really easily rip off if you're playing on an outdoor court. So, and also this is foam, you know what I mean? It's not rubber or anything like that. I mean, they're saying Flow is supposed to be durable or more durable than like traditional foam, but foam is not durable at all. So yeah, probably not recommended for outdoor use. And also we do have some holes, and these holes are also what kind of caught my eye. So here on the bottom of the shoe as well as on the side, there's some holes that expose the actual midsole. So it doesn't say anything about the cushioning setup being dual density, but they are using Flow, right? But first of all, let's go over the actual heel to toe transition, and it's freaking in. This has to be the craziest heel to toe transition I've ever experienced, you know what I mean? It kind of reminds me of that like Nike walking shoe. You guys remember that? Where it just literally, it had a crazy rocker shape. It's just basically a U shape so that you can just walk really comfortably. It literally has the shape of walking made into the sole of the shoe, which literally, that's what it kind of reminds me. Look at this, guys. Here in the heel, look at where the curve starts. Usually the curve starts right over here, right? This is still in contact with the ground with most hoop shoes, and then it kind of curves up, you know what I mean? But with this shoe, the curve starts right over freaking here, which is absolutely insane. Look at it. So you actually have a rocking motion here in the heel. That's great. And look at this, guys. That's just, it's insane. Like the overall, just the shape is crazy, right? But also, I mean, this is Flow, so this is actually like foam, but it's a little bit stiff. You know what I mean? It's not super duper soft. There's a little bit of heel compression. It's not stiff or clunky at all. It's just a little bit stiffer than, you know, a shoe that has a lot of heel compression. For example, like I don't know, the MB5. You know what I mean? The Tatum 4 has a good amount of heel compression, you know, but still extremely smooth here in the heel. And then look at this, guys. Look at the forefoot as well. Look at this. Usually shoes go like to about right over here, right? But look at how much it, oh my goodness. So it just feels crazy for heel to toe transition. It literally wants to rock you forward, which I really like, right? And also in terms of like flexibility, it actually does flex a little bit here in the forefoot, but also does have really good torsional support. But we'll get we'll get to the lateral stability in support and lockdown, but the lateral stability feels pretty bad in the shoe, right? So yeah, insane heel to toe transition, but not super springy. And then moving on to the cushioning setup. So the cushioning setup, I was extremely excited because of these holes. And I saw these holes, I was like, oh, and then you can see a black foam. So maybe that foam that they're using is a softer float, like kind of like core underneath your foot. And then I checked the actual inside of the shoe. So I was super duper excited, right? So first of all, the insole is just a regular Ortholite insole, but it's not super like foamy or thick, you know what I mean? It's actually quite thin, you know? So that doesn't add too much to the step and comfort, but it's just like a normal, like not super nice insole, you know what I mean? And then look at that, underneath that we have a soft mesh strobe. Dude, I've been saying this since the Curry, I don't know, 8, Curry 9, you know what I mean? And they finally gave us a soft mesh strobe board, and then, so it's not glued down at all. You know what I mean? And then like feeling it, oh my goodness, it's like super freaking soft, guys. Whatever this white foam is, I mean, obviously it's probably flow, but they're not saying it's like dual density or anything. But then pressing it with my finger, it's so freaking soft, guys, right? So yeah, the immediate step and comfort is actually quite soft. I wouldn't say it's amazing for some reason though. Maybe because the actual like core, like foam is not super thick, you know what I mean? Because you do have the outside kind of like cage of the foam, like also underneath, right? It makes it look thick, but it's actually not. Maybe that's the case, I don't know, but it doesn't feel super crazy soft, super crazy mushy, you know? But it's still soft. So right away, when I put the shoe on, I was like, yo, this is really comfortable. We're just like standing around, right? But then I started jumping around a little bit, and it's also really, really soft and kind of feels pretty similar to the Curry Series 7, but I would say it's even a little bit softer right now, right? And also, once I break it in, it'll probably get a little bit softer as well. So I'm very, very excited about that. I really like that, right? In terms of core feel, however, the core feel doesn't seem amazing. It's a little bit higher up off the ground than the Curry Series 7, which this still had really good core feel, right? But this one, it's a little bit higher up off the ground and the core feel isn't the best, but I feel like they want to give you a little bit more cushion, a little bit more impact protection, which makes sense. And also here in the heel, although this is all foam, there's not a crazy amount of compression because again, like I said, the flow midsole here is a little bit on the stiffer side of things, right? But it still allows for a little bit of compression. So the overall cushioning setup feels extremely nice. I definitely love what Under Armour is doing in this year's hoop shoes, you know what I mean? So I really like the cushioning setup so far. And now moving on to the upper also is extremely freaking nice, right? So they're calling this the Under Armour IntelliKnit, you know what I mean? So it's just a knit material pretty much, and we do have some kind of like plastic overlays as well, like going throughout the entire upper pretty much on the lateral side, and also pretty much covering the toe box as well, right? But on the toe box, like especially like on top, it's very, very spread apart and very thin, right? But where you need the actual support and where you need the material to be a little bit stiffer, they added a lot more of the like this plastic, rubberized plastic material, right? And that's where you need more support, obviously, is on the lateral side of the shoe. So yeah, underneath that though, with the knit material, it's really thin, it's really soft as well, conforms to your foot extremely well, but it's not super stretchy there, right? Where it's super stretchy, of course, is where the tongue's supposed to be. So pretty much right on top of your foot right here in the midfoot area is super duper stretchy, as well as like here in the ankle collar area. But the rest of the actual knit material is not super stretchy, which is a good thing, you know what I mean? So yeah, again, it feels extremely thin, very, very minimal, and it feels overall pretty supportive as well because of these plastic overlays, and the actual like quality of the material feels pretty nice, right? And also it's like an asymmetrical lacing system. The laces kind of like start more on the medial side of the shoe, and also the laces go through the upper as well, right? Which we haven't really seen too much, you know what I mean? We haven't seen one booty uppers in a while, and also we haven't seen this like lacing system in a while too. So that's actually very refreshing to see, I guess, you know what I mean? Because this was very popular like 8 years ago, you know? So yeah, and also again, with the stretchy type of knit, it really stretches over your foot. It feels really nice for the fit as well. And this shoe, it's pretty hard to put on for like the first couple times. Like I really needed to like jam my foot in there, but after a couple times, you know, wearing it actually stretches out a little bit, and it's a little bit easier to like slip my foot into the shoe, right? And also in the back of the shoe, like literally like where your Achilles is, there's a nice bit of padding. It's not super thick, it's not super plush, but there it's there, and it feels pretty nice here in the back of the shoe. And also there seems to be an internal TPU heel counter, right? And also on the medial side, you can see just how thin the plastic material is. So yeah, the upper is extremely freaking minimal, super comfortable, and I love that kind of like one booty upper customized fit with the stretchier knit type of material. So yeah, and also again with the plastic, it'll be really good for durability too, especially if you do even if you do toe drags too, you'll be covered, right? And also we have an Under Armour logo right here too. It's like off center though, which is kind of weird. And then in the back of the heel and also like where the tongue is, you have these kind of like pull tabs, so you can just really open the shoe up and slide your foot in, right? So there's that. Moving on to the fit. So I went true to size, and this shoe fits me perfectly, guys. So I went up half a size for the Curry Series 7, right? And I went true to size because this shoe runs a little bit long. I was like, oh, maybe I'll go true to size. And also because the shoe is using a knit material, it'll probably be a lot more forgiving as well, and I'm glad I went true to size, right? So lengthwise, my toes go right to the edge of the shoe, and also widthwise, it is slightly narrow. Yeah, I can definitely feel the foam here squeezing the side of my foot a little bit, but it's not super narrow, right? But also again, we'll have to see on the length, because a lot of Under Armour shoes, again with the flow, the stop is just so good that usually if the fit is a little bit too snug, which I do like for all my hoop shoes, my foot just slides forward and it really hurts because, again, the flow traction is just so good, the stop is so good. So we'll have to see on that, but right now like the length is really good, right? My toe is right there. Also, it is a pretty nice snug fit here in the toe box, but I'm sure it'll get roomier, it'll stretch out once I break it in and play in it, but how much is the question? We'll have to see on that. But overall, it's a really nice snug fit, especially with the one booty upper, especially with the stretchier knit material here in the midfoot area. It just feels like more of a customized fit, you know what I mean? And it feels way better for the fit for me, especially in the toe box compared to the Curry Series 7, because this was a little bit roomy once I kind of like broke it in, right? So yeah, if you want a nice snug fit, then go true to size. But if you want to be a little bit more on the safer side of things, go up half a size. But again, we'll have to see on how the overall upper breaks in. So there's that. Moving on to the support and lockdown. So as far as the lateral containment goes, it feels like it'll be very freaking good. Like, look at this. You can see the actual flow outsole come up, acting as a sidewall, right? And it covers the two spots where you need it, right? So here in the forefoot, it comes up like crazy, and it's pretty stiff as well. And then also here in the heel, and like I said, there seems to be an internal TPU heel counter too, right? So it's pretty stiff here. So yeah, my foot is not coming out of the footbed, and also the actual like lateral stability, it feels bad, but it feels very wide here. I mean, it is very wide because this part here in the forefoot does protrude out a lot. Look at that, But the shape of the outsole, I don't know what they did. Like here in the midfoot area, it seems like it protrudes out like this, and there's like a curved shape here almost, you know what I mean? And usually the rocker shape is only going from the back of the shoe to the front of the shoe. So the rocker shape, like this curved shape, is like this. But in this shoe, it feels like it's also going like this. Look at this. You see how it rocks as well, going side to side like this? So like even if I put a little bit of weight on the lateral side of the shoe a little bit, it literally just rocks on the outside of the shoe, which is insane. You know what I mean? So yeah, hopefully it's not terrible for ankle rolls. Hopefully it's not super unstable, but right now it doesn't feel super stable. You know what I mean? Especially if you have weak ankles, it probably isn't the best option for right now. I haven't played in these yet, of course, in my first impressions, but it feels really bad for lateral stability, right? And also, like I said, you are a little bit higher up off the ground, but here in the forefoot, we do have this wide base, so it feels a little bit weird. Again, we'll have to see on it. Like, I have to play in these, but right now it does not feel amazing, or it feels actually pretty bad for the lateral stability, right? So there is the supporting lockdown there. Moving on to the weight of the shoe. This shoe feels pretty lightweight, but it probably isn't going to be as light as the Curry Series 7, because this shoe was one of the lightest hoop shoes I can get right now, right? But it's still freaking light. It comes in at 10.2 ounces. Like 10 ounces is, like being in the 10 ounce range is extremely lightweight. 10.15 ounces, right? So that's actually pretty surprising how light it is even though you do have all this foam coming up, acting as like a cage or a sidewall on the lateral, and also a little bit on the medial side as well, right? But comparing it to the Series 7, the Series 7 is lighter, coming in at 9.75 ounces. Just a little bit lighter though, you know what I mean? And again, that probably has to do with the cage, overall cage, you know? So yeah, this shoe feels extremely freaking lightweight. It feels extremely minimal, especially for the upper, but we'll have to see on how stable it is, you know what I mean? Because if it's not stable, then I'm probably not gonna like how it feels when I'm playing it, you know? So there is a weight there. It's extremely light, like most hoop shoes with flow are. And now moving on to the aesthetics, I actually really like it. You know what I mean? It looks really, really dope, especially with this design. There's also a new colorway that came out. I was a little bit sad because I like the second color that came out way better than this because I'm not a huge fan of like Volt. But the overall design though, it looks really, really nice. You know what I mean? So tell us what you guys think of the aesthetics down in the comment section below. So wrapping things up, yeah, this shoe really surprised me, and it seems like Under Armour is really trying to push the envelope a little bit in their hoop shoes nowadays, you know what I mean? Especially with the Curry Series 7 and now with this shoe, you know? But again, there are some issues with it right now, so we'll have to see on, you know, when I'm playing it, if it's a huge issue or not. But right now, I'm still like pretty impressed, and hopefully in the coming future, we can see, you know, Under Armour kind of like implementing like, you know, the soft mesh strobo board and stuff like that, and like this knit material in their future shoes, right? So anyways, that about concludes my first impressions look on the Under Armour FUTR X Elite 2. Again, if you guys want to cop either of these shoes, I'll try to leave in the affiliate link in the description box, but that's it. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.